which is traditionally in chili powder as well. Also in chili powder, believe it or not, is oregano. So I'm just going to put a smidge of it because I don't want to make it taste Italian. I still want it to taste Mexican. And finally, a little bit of garlic powder. You don't have to put any seasoning in this because you're going to top it with things that are highly seasoned, like salsa, things like that. I'm going to just turn this on. I have to keep a watch on it so that it doesn't burn. I'm going to mix in the spices. Like I said, I'm just lightly seasoning it because we're going to have also salsa on it. And I want to turn this down to a medium heat and stir it occasionally. What? And now it's time to check on the tostadas. If they're ready, I'm going to put them on a large plate, or a cooling rack actually, first, because they cool better and they remain crispy if you put them on a rack. And I'm going to put this one down and I have another cooling rack as well. Okay, that looks pretty good, but I have time to get the cooling rack from out of here. And of course it's all the way in the back. So, there it is. Okay, and I might have gotten food on that. We'll clean that up in a bit. Okay, so here's the other cooling rack so we can cool it off nicely. And it'll be crispy, and once it's cooled, we can put it on a plate. Okay, let me just rinse my hands off. Just add a little bean on it. Now, hold on. You can tell I've never made cooking videos before. I'm going to give this another stir and then take the tostadas out because they should be crispy by now. Now, if this was a cooking show, we would already have a pot that was done. Okay, take it out, be careful, they will be hot. Now you notice that these are a little bit brown, and that's perfect. You don't want them burnt, you want them just a little bit brown, and you're going to put them on your cooling rack to cool. And these will be nice and crispy, just like taco shells. The only difference will be there's no fat. No added fat, I should say. Okay, I'll just put this down and put 4 more on. And by the time these are done, I should be able to take these off the cooling rack and put them on a plate. So 4 more go into the oven. It takes about 4 minutes for them to cook each. We also have some salsa, which is going to go on it. You can put chunked up tomatoes. We don't happen to have any. But you can put lettuce, chunked up tomatoes. Now as far as cheese, I know you love cheese, but cheese is full of lactose, which for those of us who are lactose intolerant, it's a problem. Now this is not approved for E2 firefighters, but for cadets, it's okay. It does not pass the test as far as fat goes, but as you're transitioning, this is a good way to transition. Okay? So this is called Daya, and it's cheddar cheese shreds. There are other ways to get a cheesy flavor. We'll talk about that on another time. Okay, so let me give it another stir, and let me show you how you assemble one of them. Now we're going to imagine that this is totally hot for this one. And you just need a plate, and I like a lunch-size plate because it's the perfect size for one tostada at a time. And what you're going to do is you're going to take your tostada, you're going to take some of your bean mixture, and you're going to spread it on the tostada as thinly or as thickly as you like. Depends on how used to beans you are. I like to spread it a little thick, and like I said, you can mash the beans up and then you would spread it possibly a little thinner. Okay. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go over here. Forgive the things that are still in the way. We're going to take the salsa and we're going to put as much salsa as you like. Now I'm using a medium salsa because Ricky and I like it fairly spicy, but not burn your mouth off spicy. We want to taste the beans. Some people like mild. If you prefer mild, go for mild. And put on as much as you like. Okay, that's about what I like. Then you're going to put on some onions. Again, do this to taste. And the last thing you'll put on is the lettuce, because it's hard to put the other stuff on the lettuce. So now we're going to open the cheese, and I use a pair of scissors. Now you can use kitchen scissors for this. This pair of scissors is always in our kitchen, and it's used for opening things like this. And this happens to be frozen because it is. What I'm going to do, because it is frozen, is I can pop this into the microwave for a few seconds to thaw it. Now if you're using ones that's already thawed, you're fine. You could also put it in a toaster oven for a minute. I'm going to put this in for 30 seconds. And yes, it'll cook the onions a bit, and that's okay. It'll cook the onions a bit, and that is okay. It doesn't bother me. I need to stir the pot. We're almost done. Hold on. Okay, now this is actually hot, but it wasn't before, so mine will still be hot because I'm nuking it. All right. This is a good time to cover it. And that should be enough time not to melt the cheese, but to thaw the cheese out a bit. If you want it melted, you can put it in a little bit longer. And the last thing I'm going to put on this tostada is lettuce. And that's going to be my topping, and also give me something to hold on to when I eat it. Now the nice thing about this, as far as those of you who eat kosher, is, if you may be watching me, is the bracha is all the same for every ingredient on here. Borei Pri Hadama. So, this is my finished tostada. And Borei Pri Hadama.